All right, second impressions once again. We've got a question, and the question is, we just hired a new agency, and we want them to raise our visibility in the community. Is social media the best place to start? And I know that you're just absolutely chomping to unload on this one. So
The answer is yes, and we're over.
have at it.
And that's it. We get this question in a variety of ways. Honestly, it's not normally a question. It's normally
it's normally a period. Let's start with social media.
Here's what hiring a marketing agency means to us, and this is what we want you to do. Take my money and now make me viral.
Yes.
You're gonna go viral.
Yes, and we're gonna start a TikTok dance too. Why not?
So I think that what's important as digital marketers for us to just first kind of give an insight into our world is that, like, at least mine, when I hear about visibility, I think mostly what we mean by that is what's visible to me, what's visible to my kids, and the things that are visible to us. But one of my primary strengths in running this agency is using data to enlighten our views of what is actually visible to the people that are interacting with your brand, your business, your services, whatever it happens to be, in a way that is often invisible to the business itself. Because when you're working with these relationships that are, we call them end to many, not end to one. So we tend to prioritize what's visible to us as these end to ones. These, when we are communicating with an individual, the customer, the client, the patient who comes in, the prospect. But the world that exists digitally, at large, it's an end to many relationship. There's so much more happening outside of these individual behaviors that are often invisible to us as business owners and entrepreneurs and marketers. And so really, there's this guy, Hans Rosling, rest in peace, who used to say, let the data set change your mindset. And so what we try to do is use data to the best of our ability to give our clients a better understanding of what their brand looks like to the world at large, so that they could see how often their websites are being pulled up in Google, what pages are being clicked, all these different hidden interactions that are extraordinarily important to businesses and their perception, the market's perception of them. And so getting into the next part of this, is social media the best place to start? It's a place to start among many, many places. And that's the thing, is like, there's always potential if you have an internal personality that is awesome and dynamic. We know a couple of local personalities that we just gravitate towards and really enjoy and love their stuff. Then it's this incredible value add to building a brand, because people want people. They don't want to interact with this object, this entity, this brand. And so social media has a specific unique value and strength for businesses in being able to really provide that personal connection to a business in a way that other medias and modes can't. But at the same time, it's not the only one, and it's not necessarily the first one we should always be looking at.
When somebody says, if you to a couple of parts, the first part of the sentence, or the first half of the question, we just hired an agency, we're looking to raise our visibility. Great. That is saying that you're focused on what's important to you. You've decided that there's a certain part in that sales and marketing, sort of ramp up that you're focused on.
The awareness
And,
part.
What's that?
The awareness
The
part.
awareness part. Yeah, and that's something where we can look at that, we can measure it, we can it's a very actionable goal.
Mm-hmm.
But the second part of the question, it's like, okay, well, social media, the place to start. It really, like you said, it really does depend. I think it depends on a lot of things, and I think that very often people will gravitate towards that or something else just based on what's on their own mind.
Mm-hmm.
You phrased it a little differently, saying visible to them. And there are people who look at their marketing and they say, man, social media is really a weak spot in our armor. Like we haven't paid attention to it. We're blowing it. Oh, this is just driving me nuts. So let's just start there. It may not be the best place to start, or search engine optimization may not be the best place to start, but we have plenty of people who come to us and talk nonstop about search engine optimization because they're obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, and they haven't even considered whether or not that's the thing that's going to that's going to help them. And so I think the way that I would answer this question is I would say, so number one, you've set a goal about being more visible in your community, building awareness, and maybe building some of those, new opportunities to make connections with people in the community. And so let's talk about what that looks like. Let's talk about how you're going to evaluate your success. What really is the goal, and why do you have that goal? And then throw that out to your agency and challenge them, and let them let them give you a handful of first steps that would satisfy that goal. One of the ways to break a cycle of sort of lost objectivity, I'm obsessed with search engine optimization or social media because I believe that we're weak in it, and I don't want to be weak at this stuff. Who cares? Take yourself out of it. Take your personal preferences out of it. Go to your professionals and say, hey, look, this is what we want to do. This is why we want to do it. This is what success will look like for us. What do you think?
And then what I normally start with is understanding, like I have to start, I don't, the older I get, the more I've been doing this, the more I know what you don't know, the parts that I have to learn, where I don't want to make assumptions about what a business's experiences are. And so what I start with is probing questions about what do those existing connections look like? What are your most important connections that you have? And what is that, just kind of, if you can enlighten me on that world of people who influence decisions, make the actual purchasing decisions, and so on, and then really working from that point of success and then out. So because a lot of times it's like businesses aren't necessarily focused on their email like they should. You already have somebody's contact information. So what is it that we're doing with it? How are we staying in touch? Are we upholding those connections well? And if those are the most fruitful, would a little bit of investment in that area provide a greater return, a quicker return than starting from scratch on TikTok or whatever it happens to be. So those are the things that we like to get into and just learn more about, because a lot of times where people are looking, whether it be in their search results at keywords that are often not even being used by the marketplace. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had to have with businesses where they said, this keyword is the most important keyword for my business. And it has like 300 monthly searches nationwide that are high.
Well, I don't know if we've talked about it on Second Impressions or not, but something that we often talk about, and something that I've been trying to tell people for years and years and years and years and years, is that marketing is better expressed as a window versus a mirror. We're really tempted to look at ourselves as our own audience, the things that we know about our industry, the things that we know about our services and our business, but maybe aren't known or embraced in quite that way outside of our sphere of influence. And it's just so easy to look at yourself and say, this is my, in like the Google scenario, this is my set of words. These are the words. This is the perfect set of words that I can use to describe this business. And this is what we need to rank for. But you're marketing to an audience of one.
The irony in all this is that whenever we're having these conversations with the business owners, there's nobody who knows more about the target market, often from their own personal experience, than anyone else. Like they have tons and tons of insights, but then when they take off that, like, their business owning hat of who their clients are and can be, and prospects and what they're doing, and they put on their marketing hat, it tends to be a pretty, I would say, bleak and cynical view of what marketing is. And really what we're trying to get at is what's going to improve those connections. How is it that you can do a better job of upholding your existing audience and inviting more into that fray, versus like, how do we sell to people? And I think I would say that's what I would like to dissuade business owners of, is like, TikTok isn't necessarily going to get you to sell, but it can be a great way to build up an ecosystem around your brand to show a more personal connection and insight into the people. And that would be great for an awareness play, but there's a lot of other things that can be done that are very easy and simple that may be being ignored in that process. And so let's look at everything and let's try to figure out how to make it better. And then maybe TikTok's part of that, but I don't think it's ever that's never going to be, there's never this like cheat code of this one thing you do and it's suddenly going to make it rain on you. I know it's tempting because we see some crazy successes coming out of the social media world. But it's like, let's get the fundamentals right first. And then we'll refocus on those things that can potentially build that audience.
I like it. All right. Well, I think we're good on this. I'm Eric. This is Greg. That's our email address. Our TikTok dance will be setting the world afire in just a couple of months, and we will see you next time on Second Impressions.